Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take, well, a whole stack of sources, articles, research, some really fascinating insights, and boil them down to the key nuggets of knowledge for you. Today, we're diving into a real cornerstone of American literature. It's one that, well, decades after it came out in 1960, still gets people talking, still feels incredibly relevant. Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, and what's so interesting looking at the sources is how it works on multiple levels. It's partly this, poignant coming-of-age story set in the 1930s Deep South, very divided place.
Right.
But it's also simultaneously this really profound social commentary. Race, class, justice in America. It hits all those notes. It's foundational, sure, but it speaks to today, too. It's not just a museum piece.
Absolutely not. And our goal today really is to go a bit deeper than just the plot summary. We want to unpack how this narrative, mostly seen through a child's eyes, the scout's eyes, lights up these big themes. Justice, prejudice, innocence, empathy, moral growth.
That innocent perspective is key.
Exactly. So by the end of this, you should have a much richer, maybe more nuanced idea of why this book still matters so much.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it. So the story kicks off in this fictional town, Maycomb, Alabama. Feels very sleepy, very deep south during the Depression. And we see it all through young Scout Finch. We meet her older brother Jem, their dad Atticus, who's a widower, and then their friend Dill, who visits in the summer. And, like kids do, they're obsessed with the local mystery.
Boo Radley.
Boo Radley, yeah. The neighbor who never, ever comes out of his house.
Yeah.
But even here, in these early scenes that feel kind of idyllic, Lee is already laying the groundwork, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely. That innocent perspective you mentioned, it's crucial. Critics call it naive narration, and it's brilliant. Lee uses Scout's viewpoint. Sometimes she's confused, doesn't quite get what the adults mean.
Right, she asks those direct questions.
Exactly. She asks the uncomfortable things. It allows us, the readers, to see the town's deep-seated problems, the social layers, the racial lines. They're simmering just below that sleepy surface. Subtle at first.
Very subtle. The slow, sleepy life isn't just description. It's almost like it numbs people to the prejudices they live with every day. But Scout hasn't learned to ignore it yet. So when the big stuff happens, it hits harder because we see it through her fresh, uncorrupted eyes.
And it definitely does hit hard. Which brings us to, well, the real core of the story, where things truly ignite. Atticus Finch, respected lawyer, kind of Maycomb's moral center.
A pillar of the community.
He gets assigned a case.
Yeah.
He has to defend Tom Robinson.
Tom Robinson, a black man. And the accusation is horrific raping Mayella Ewell, a young white woman from a very poor, troubled family.
And our sources really stress this isn't just about legal points. It becomes this moral test for the entire town. It forces Maycomb to confront its own ugliness.
It really does. And it throws up that huge question immediately. How can you possibly get justice when prejudice is just baked into the system, baked into people's thinking? Because the sources are absolutely clear on this. There was solid, undeniable evidence proving Tom was innocent. Physically couldn't have done it based on his injury.
Exactly. And more than that, the evidence actually pointed pretty strongly towards Mayella's own father, Bob Ewell, who was known to be abusive as the one who likely hurt her.
So Atticus lays all this out, a brilliant defense.
Meticulous. Compelling, even. But it doesn't matter. The all-white jury convicts Tom simply because he's black and she's white. It's just a brutal display of how racism can completely override facts, override logic, override basic decency. It's like a collective blindness.
And it's devastating, not just for Tom, obviously, but for Scout and Jem watching this unfold. Atticus defending Tom, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It exposes them to the absolute worst of their world.
Yeah, the prejudice, the raw hatred, the injustice. They see it all firsthand. The mob outside the jail. Whispers, the insults aimed at their father and at them. And then the ultimate tragedy. Tom tries to escape prison later, and he's killed. Shot.
Just awful.
It's not just a plot point. His death is this powerful symbol, isn't it? It's like the final brutal destruction of innocence in the face of this ingrained bias. It shows the real fatal cost of that kind of injustice.
Which connects directly to that central symbol you mentioned earlier, the Mockingbird.
Yes, exactly. Lee weaves this in so carefully. Remember early on, Atticus gives the kids air rifles.
Right, and he tells them.
He says, shoot all the blue jays you want if you can hit them, but remember, it's a sin to kill a mockingbird.
Because they don't do anything harmful.
Precisely. As Atticus says, they don't do one thing but make music for us to enjoy. They don't eat at people's gardens, don't nest in corn cribs. They don't do one thing but sing their hearts out for us. It seems like a simple piece of fatherly advice.
But it becomes this core moral idea for the whole novel.
Absolutely, it's the lens. And Tom Robinson is the most obvious Mockingbird figure, isn't he?
Clearly, an innocent man destroyed by pure prejudice.
Yeah, but Boo Radley, he's another one. In a different way, he starts as this scary, almost gothic figure in the kids' imaginations.
The town mystery.
Yeah.
Misunderstood. Feared.
Right. But Lee turns that completely on its head. We find out he's not malicious at all. He's just reclusive, maybe damaged by his own past, maybe just choosing to stay away from a world that doesn't understand him, but capable of real kindness.
That quiet kindness, leaving gifts for the kids.
Those little gifts in the tree knothole. And then it all leads to the climax. Bob Ewell, furious after Atticus exposed him in court, feeling humiliated.
He wants revenge.
He goes after the kids, attacks Scout and Jem one night when they're walking home in the dark.
It's terrifying, and then out of nowhere,
Boo Radley emerges, the recluse, the phantom. He saves Scout and Jem, and in the struggle, Bob Ewell is killed.
Killed with his own knife, wasn't it?
Yes. And Boo carries Jem home. It's this moment of incredible, quiet heroism from the least likely person in Maycomb.
And what happens next is so important for that Mockingbird theme too, right? The sheriff, Hecate, arrives.
Yes. And he has to figure out what happened, what to report. He understands immediately that Boo saved the children and killed Ewell defending them.
But putting Boo through a trial, making him the town hero.
Exactly. Tate realizes that dragging Boo into the spotlight, the questioning, the attention, the town gossip, would be cruel. It would destroy this quiet, intensely private man.
So he makes a decision.
He decides to report that Bob Ewell fell on his own knife, an accident. He says, "Let the dead bury the dead." And specifically about exposing Boo, he tells Atticus, it'd be sort of like shooting a mockingbird, wouldn't it?
Wow. So it's not covering up a crime in a corrupt way. It's a moral choice.
It's a moral choice. Protecting the innocent, the vulnerable mockingbird, becomes more important than the absolute letter of the law in that moment. It's a fascinating contrast to the injustice Tom faced, where the law was twisted by prejudice. Here, it's bent for compassion.
And Scout, witnessing all this, listening to Atticus and Tate, she finally gets it. She understands what her father meant all along.
That famous line.
About empathy. That you never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it.
And she literally does that, in a way. At the end, Atticus walks her home, and she stands on Boo Radley's porch for a moment, looking out at the street, at her own house, from his perspective.
Seeing the world through Boo's eyes.
And she understands his isolation, his quiet acts, his final act of bravery. It's this profound moment of earned empathy. It changes her.
So pulling it all together from this deep dive, what are the big takeaways for us reading it now? The sources really highlight a few core things that still pack a punch.
Definitely.
First, obviously, racial injustice. Tom's trial is just this stark, unflinching look at systemic racism, specifically in the American South of that era, but it resonates much wider.
Still resonates.
Then there's the loss of innocence. We really feel that through Scout and Jem. Watching them have to confront these really ugly adult realities. It's part of growing up, maybe, but intensified by what they witnessed.
It's painful to watch them learn those hard lessons.
And third, empathy and moral courage. That's Atticus, isn't it? He's the model. Compassion, fairness, doing the right thing, even when it's unpopular. Even when it's dangerous.
Standing firm on principle. It's a powerful example.
And finally, that classic theme of good versus evil. But it's not simple. You have the clear evil of Bob Ewell's hatred and prejudice, sure, but then you have Boo Radley's quiet goodness. And maybe the more subtle evil is the town's complacency, the everyday prejudice that lets injustice happen.
That's a great point. It's not just mustache-twirling villains. It's about the harm done by fear, by ignorance, by just going along with the status quo. And if you zoom out, these aren't just, book themes. They're about being human.
Right.
The novel really pushes you, the reader, to look past surfaces, to question your own assumptions, to try and see things from different angles before you judge, which is, frankly, a crucial skill today, isn't it, with all the noise and information coming at us?
Absolutely. Critical thinking, ethical thinking.
Yeah. It gives you a framework for engaging with the world, reminding you that truth and justice often require real courage.
So, To Kill a Mockingbird. Yeah, it's way more than just a courtroom drama. It digs deep into human dignity, morality, compassion. And seeing it through Scout's eyes is what makes it so powerful. Harper Lee challenges you, challenges us to face prejudice in the world and maybe in ourselves, but also to hang on to empathy, to keep hoping.
And ultimately, maybe it's about the importance of standing up for what's right, even if you're standing alone, and about recognizing the quiet heroes, the mockingbirds, who might be in places you don't expect.
It really makes you think. So as you mull over this deep dive, maybe consider this. Who are the mockingbirds in your own world today? Individuals, maybe groups, who are misunderstood, judged unfairly, harmed by prejudice.
Good question.
And what does it really take day to day to try and walk in someone else's shoes? To step onto their porch, metaphorically speaking. Definitely something to think about.
Indeed.
We'll leave you with that thought until our next deep dive.